Many happy return to each and every one of you who have made it possible to be here. And let me say Merry Christmas and a happy and a prosperous New Year as well.
It is very great, Mayor. We also want to say thank you for such engagement with the media. Before we go ahead, here in review, I'm sure you want to express your sadness for some of the lives you've lost within the institution, looking at some other people. What have you to say about that, Mayor?
Well, basically, not just within the week of the Monrovia city government, we want to use this time particularly to all Liberians, ranging for those of our citizens who lost their life within the bitter week of Monrovia and out of Monrovia. We want to seize this time to extend our deepest condolences to each and every one of them, even some of them who are currently out of the country or the Liberian diaspora who are also out. And I think I want to say we are very grateful. I'm a Christian, and I think December is a very important month to me. Almost like a month of completion. We all begin the first month in January, but sometimes we come with some difficulty. I want to use this time to be very grateful to God for His unspecified grace and mercy on each and every one of us. And has our condolences to those who may have lost their loved ones. Even us here in the Monrovia city government, we were seriously hit. Some of our very amazing staff lost their life, mainly from the police and also from the central leadership. And not too long, we were being informed by media practitioners, some of our vulnerable citizens, who sometimes we normally call them. Two of those young persons met their untimely death. We also want to seize this opportunity to extend our condolences to the bereaved family and encourage the young people to see this festive season as a means to stay out of trouble as we begin to climax. This year is our opportunity, it is our wish and anticipation to see each and every Liberian to cross over and begin a prosperous 2023.
Okay, thank you. I think it's a very good, word of encouragement to those other people. So we're going to start our conversation now. Mayor Koijee, what is it you can as a milestone achievement for the past 12 months within MCC?
Well, basically, I want to say thank you again to His Excellency Dr. George Monrovia, who wisdom afforded me an opportunity as a young person to stir the affairs of the city of Monrovia, the capital city of the Republic of Liberia, and I think it was a huge challenge and a responsibility to repose his confidence in the person of God. And I think with that, I stand here before the microphones. I want to say to every young person that I bear the greatest responsibility to say to you that a success of Jefferson Koijee will serve as a precedent for many young persons as well. Because there is stereotype or perception of young people that we only good to support and not to be given a responsibility. But this president has taken a conscious gamble and repose a confidence in me. For me, the first milestone is allowing me as a young person to steer the affairs. The second I want to pick up here is with our challenges in the last 12 months we were able to introduce and sustain inclusiveness. What do I mean by inclusiveness? We were able to allow the young people build their capacity at the Monrovia city government. We were able to allow our workings from an international perspective to share our own perspective with our international colleagues. We were able to build capacity from national level, where you may be aware that capacity building is a challenge in terms of value-added addition to any work environment. We were able to send few of our staff to Singapore, South Africa, Israel, Rwanda, Japan, and India and China.
If you were to be asked to encapsulate the entire 2022, what would be that milestone, one item that you will look back and be like, wow, I did it as a mayor?
Well, in 2022, what I could say to you and that I want to, one of the major achievement with all of the characterization about the city being unsafe, we were able to convince the international colleagues to be hosting first of its kind, the second African country to host the Global Parliament of Mayors. And we work alongside with the bicentennial, serving as a co-chairman on the bicentennial in the midst of the pandemic and the challenges. So for me, that major thing was safety, because there was this notion and this perception that the city was unsafe, the city was threatened by security and insecurity. The fact that we would be hosting, we were able to convince, we have several other cities around the world, very developed cities around the world, who were opting to be afforded an opportunity to host this summit. And Monrovia were able to come true. For me, I think my greatest milestone was to change the perception in the international community that led to not only accepting me and giving me the flagship to be hosting the Global Parliament of Mayors that will host a cross-section of mayors around the world. We were able to have some donor funding since I came. And over the last 5 years, this was the only one apart from the World Bank, European Union, that we already met and ongoing. But to see on our own engagement, our own innovation, creativity, we were able to make a case, and the international community were able to see through that. And today we speak to you, we're able to bring back home a project that is clearly driven towards sanitation, also driven towards climate change. Two of our affected communities focuses on erosion and sanitation, West Point and Newtown. We were able to win for ourselves 200,000 and 150 residents of Monrovia will be from both West Point and Newtown.
What will they be doing?
Well, the more the more grown project is basically focuses on trying to prevent. It's about climate change. You know, West Point and Newtown suffer from what you call sea erosion. And so you see the mangrove, you know, where mangrove is very important in prevention in terms of our. So we think the ways some of those things, they run out some of our citizens, they make them internal display, some of their homes get destroyed from sea erosion. So what we're trying to do, how can we engage into prevention within in our lane meaningful way. So there will be 200 trees will be procured. Those 200 trees, 3 communities will benefit. We intend then to ensure that those trees will be planted
In those communities?
in those communities. One will be in West Point, Rikuta, and also the Somalia Drive, where you have the Japanese freeway. So those are initial, and those things will also give our residents an opportunity for a quick impact, service process that will give them a job. And things. They will be trained, they will also be paid, predicated on the successfulness of that project. Looking at the baseline of it, we will also have an opportunity to subsequently be able to get $2.6 million.
So when is that expected to, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead,
When
go
is that
ahead.
expected to take place? When is it expected to start?
We already launched the project not too long. I think a couple of days ago, that project has been launched. And we'll give you the full details. We also allow the media to follow it. Because even when our colleagues come here next year, that's one of our focus points of the project. A lot of our viewers will be very interested to follow through the more grown project.
Before Kwame comes in, sorry, I
Yeah.
want to take you back to the conference that is expected to be held in Monrovia. I know you talk about, how you convince the people to choose Monrovia, despite all of the concerns of, insecurity. That is a good thing. But how does the city of Monrovia benefit as a result of that conference?
Well, the city of Monrovia benefit in many ways. Take for example, you're going to have a conference that's going to have the attention of all the mayors around the world. Basically, we're looking at close to 1,000, 2,000 plus persons expected to be in our city.
Wow.
And too often, we go to Southern and Northern Europe or North America or America to participate in these conferences. But we were able to make a credible and a solid case for Africa as a whole. So the first thing, it opened the country to investment. If you have the mayor of New York, the mayor of DC, the mayor of Virginia, they will be coming. We also see an opportunity to showcase that we do basically like an extension of our bicentennial. We're trying to show some of the cultural value of
Do we have the kind of facilities to host them? I'm talking about hotels or these different recreation places. I know their coming will put money in the economy. They'll be able to have handlers, those playing sports and all of those stuff. But do we have the kind of facility when it comes to lodging?
Well, basically, we tried our best. Make no mistake now, Liberia been a funding country to a lot of these international institutions, the AU, United Nations. So we have our international reputation. We also, if sometimes people think it's comical to keep referring to, you have 14 years civil wars, yes. So all of those challenges were being projected, but we cannot say because of those challenges, we cannot put ourselves in a committed relation to be able to project ourselves to help our people. We have the little facility we have here, our hotels. We have a community. We're working with the civil society. We're working with some government agencies. We've been working with the president. The president himself has endorsed, as we speak to you, the president going to become the guest speaker of the opening session. So he will be speaking on the guest speaker at the opening session. So we're going to try to work with the little facility we have here, but with a huge expectation. Because normally when the Global Parliament, we were in Bristol, we were in Poland, we were in Germany. So whenever we go to places, Italy, it gave an opportunity to that city, like a spotlight will be placed on the city. So we hope that some of our colleagues that will come here, some of the businesses that will come here, some of the people that have interest, they can see our country. We can be able to showcase that Liberia has some cultural value, where we can be able to use as a way to pump some investment in our economy.
Inadequate funds to run the city of Monrovia is one of the problems you've been faced with. Do you care to tell us what have you done in terms of running the city with the limited resources? How did you manage?
Well, uh, the city is engaged with planning constraints, uh, inadequate resources is stuck on the agenda of its planning constraints. Everywhere around the world, sometimes when I sit among my colleagues and tell them what I have on sanitation, sometimes it becomes laughable and people think that what are we? But I can understand it's not deliberate. Liberia is an underdeveloped country, and the country as a whole has the president is doing his utmost best to be able to touch. Okay, everywhere we have we have a competing priorities. We have a competing priorities. So in your mind, keeping the city clean, green, and safe is extremely cardinal or paramount to our well-being. We also cannot negate the fact about having equipment in our various hospitals. We also cannot negate the fact of having a quality educations and quality education as well. So, like I said, there's a competing priorities in terms of what we can decide. But, well, the first way we tried to be very innovative, we created a means to digitize our revenue collections. When we came here first, over the period of time, our revenue system, well, people were just using manual system. And what we took interest in, we were very amazed about a Liberian company and a Liberian, 100% Liberian owned, called eWallet. It's a payment platform. Mr. Kamara is a Liberian, a very smart and professional Liberian who has a protracted history of, he has a very good sense in terms of technology. So he launched this product. So I reached out to him and said to him, Mr. Kamara, what is this? And he said, this is a 100% Liberian owned program. So we worked with Mr. Kamara and we launched the brand. As we speak to you currently on a year on a review, you do not have to come to the city government to be able to pay. And so because we digitize our payment, they have afforded us an opportunity to generate a little bit more than what we used to have, because it minimizes the space for any potential fraud or people try to compromise. Let me not use corruption or something else. So with that, that's one of the ways we manage, even though it is not, and we keep reaching out to our donors to see how they can see need. Like I said to you, as a mayor on this radio, this is our first time. That's why we think this 2022 was, even though it was indeed a challenging one and a very accurate one for us, but at the same time, we were able to make some what you call some pull-overs.
Yeah, sticking with keeping the city clean. I know at some point, maybe it was out a couple of years back or 1 or 2 years back, there used to be this mountain of trash all over the place when you were struggling with the landfill issue. You managed to put that behind you, and we don't see that kind of pile of trash no more in the city. But let me ask you this. If you were just an ordinary citizen who took a walk around your jurisdiction, Monrovia, is Monrovia clean?
Well, and what I would say to you, I want to emphasize a little bit on what you just said about last year. And I'm glad, Kwame, that you're pointing out. And that's why we say at the Monrovia City government, the media, the folk estate, and us, we should be partners in helping our people. And when there are challenges, we expect it to flag them. When there are, pluses and work done, you also flag that. I remember last year, Center Street was a talk of a time.
Yeah.
But Bowman Bridge was also a talk of a time. Wallasai was a talk of a time. Those were places we had a stockpile of waste. So is there no mere comfort in having a city being greeted with spirit of waste? So we came back, we formed what you call, the first thing we formed was the Citizen Engagement Board. We formed the Citizen Engagement Board. We're interested to know, we thought about a cross-section of citizens, ranging from eminent citizens, students, market women, the Citizen Engagement Board, even some government media practitioners as well. Madam Bro, who happened to be my predecessor, who served before me, we designated her to serve as chair of the Citizen Engagement Board. Unfortunately for us, she came across with a fracas, and which of course you guys know, with the legislature. That was not the intent. Our intent was being very inclusive, like I said to you, a collective participation. But when that didn't suffice in the way that we really wanted to be, we came back and we formed what you call STORM. STORM was a special task force to release Monrovia of what is engaging to. In our ideas of STORM, we decided to create a new methodology in engaging our waste collection. That's why you see at the level of Center Street. This time around, what we did, we created a wheel, like a pulley system, where the truck will be back to Center Street this time around. And all you need to do with our guys there, whenever you bring a waste, you place it directly in the truck, and the truck will be there. Sometimes the truck will make 5 rounds, and I run from there strictly to the transfer station. So there's no space again where you will come and be able. So we did that. But even at that, we have some volume constraints. The issue of our trucks are not made to cover everywhere. So what we did, we use some hot spots. So few of the hot spots, because you need all the trucks to be going around. So we place them there. So what we did is that we reduced a lot of the skip buckets within the city. So I think with that approach, we are thinking again. So it have developed another challenge. You walk around the street, a lot of people just come out because they cannot go to places because we shut down those places. So what people are doing are taking advantage of some of our vulnerable citizens, what they call Zogo. They call them, citizens who know them. So they go and just give them little or nothing, and those kids go and they drop waste all over the street. So we have seen that to be very alarming, and Jefferson, we see it to be very alarming. So you're right. For me to sit behind the microphone and tell you that Monrovia is clean, no, I can't say that to you. But I can, but at the same time, it would be totally unfair to say that efforts are not being applied to get Monrovia to where it's supposed to be.
So what is the intention now to work with those people who or to work around that issue where people are giving dirt to people who are called Zogos to just dump them in the streets? Do you have any intention to make that, irrelevant so that people stop that? What is the plan?
Thank you. What we have done, we have sent for STORM. STORM has been headed by Franco Grimes. So we've been having just yesterday, there was a meeting being held. We are trying to go to a primary waste collection. We're trying to go to a primary waste collection, and we want those businesses that are also within the city, we want them to work along with us. We think we want to inform our vulnerable kids, get them like we formed before, we call the CNW, where we use them to plant trees for us before. So we're going to have that meeting. That meeting is an ongoing meeting now, where plastic bags will be distributed. And those bags will be labeled as the MCC. Those bags will be for sale. We sell those bags, and you don't have to come. And we're also going to allow the CBs. So a letter before you just come and know, we're going to send it back to you. We talk to Seti brother. We send out a committee because they have Duraplast. We're going to ask them. So we're going to count how many houses around the place. they're going to work with us, and the amount of what you call bags will be produced by them. And we're going to allow people now, we send a bag to you, and you have it with anybody who will not follow what we're about to do in 2023. That person will be out of the law, and such a person will be reprimanded.
I'll follow to that here. You have the bag, so the citizens are going to buy this bag, put the dirt in the bag, and where are they going to dispose of it?
So that's where you're going to have the CBE.
Okay.
We're going to have the
So
CBE.
they're going to pick it from the
The
homes?
CBE now will be, the CBE will be charged with the responsibility and collect those bags for each and every homes.
One of, if you look at any stockpile trash somewhere, the bulk of that is plastic. We're struggling with how people dispose of this plastic, but majority of people, because it's not biodegradable, and you're creating more plastic versus getting that out of the market. How are you going to dispose that?
Yeah, Kwame, truth be told to you is, I know sometimes it's easy, and people just think that the city is not clean, and just think it's about expression. There are some fundamental challenges that are surrounding the waste management in every given city. As Liberia is one of the oldest cities in Africa, we do not have a landfill.
Wow.
Liberia do not have a landfill. So what we're doing on our leadership, we are working seriously to ensure with our partner so that we can have a modern landfill. When you have to Welltown, that is not a landfill. In fact, in Welltown has outlived its usefulness. Even the citizens in Welltown, they are complaining. They have gotten affected by what has been, because even the chores that were being made to even create that place, it was made in the midst of the people. You cannot have waste. That is an unused product among people who you have kids, you have other people. So as I speak to you, we're just working very cautiously, and we work with our partner. Hopefully, we're on a trajectory of completing and erecting our new landfill. As I speak to you now, in Chispa, I'm supposed to be talking to the Commerce Minister, who will be heard instead, because the World Bank, some of our contractors, we were talking to the Commerce Minister, so that this exception we want them to give to those who are controlling the landfill, so they can have an opportunity to bring their steel in. I think they say Commerce Minister has a procedure where you cannot procure steel out of the place. But when you see about the kind of a landfill we want to, and the contractor with our international people, by international standard, they have asked the local, the way they want to construct, so we ask them that so some dispensation can be given to the contractors who won the bid from the World Bank, so we can, because that is one of the things that we just solve.
How long is it going to take for that to happen?
Well, we already started it. We can say to you, we're currently negotiating for additional funding, because first, even the World Bank and our partners, they made a projection. I think that projection has been underestimated, taking into consideration what we want, because the landfill will be where there will be the separation of waste. You have, without producing, there will be a lot you can do things.
Approximately how much would that cost?
Well, first we were talking, I think technician, I can just tell you off air. First it was around $20+ million, and we're trying to see how we can have additional funding towards that. But I think as we speak to you, we have that already ongoing, and we started the process already. The PIU, before we came for this place, we're trying to, hopefully we were even supposed to launch it.
What is the PIU?
The Project Implementing Unit.
Yeah, the issue about liberalization, because starting listening to you that it is an international company that has won the ongoing project. What about Liberian-owned company? Will they be subcontracted to do some of the jobs, or is there something out of the box where Liberians will not benefit?
The e-wallet is different from what I'm just saying, but
I'm talking about the project.
Okay.
It's not
the
the
landfill
issue.
I think to the best of my knowledge, I think out of the requirement that was being projected to our international friends, we've been fully serve. And now as a mayor, I'm not going to get involved into procurement.
No, you're not going to get into it.
I'm not gonna
I
get
think
into
some of the things before we can move on to the next thing, Liberian usually complain like the companies involved in the such that they've not been given such an opportunity to do most of the contracts in the country. So now listening to you that it is an international company coming to do such, will there be no other jobs where Liberian companies will be subcontracted to do some of these things?
Well, I don't want to jump the gun. So what I can say to you that what I'm aware of. So I will encourage you to do a little bit investigation towards that, and the facts will be quicker.
Okay.
I want to take you back a little bit to this e-wallet process, because everything that has to do with waste management, it costs a lot of money. And I hear you talk about this process where citizens will have to pay money. I want you to go back a little bit. How do those who are in Monrovia, how do they contribute to this process? How do they pay for the city to get money, or your office to get money to run the city?
Titi, I already relied and already appreciate with the media intervention on it. And I keep saying to people that our challenge is our psyche. People's mentality about waste is quite different. And interestingly, these are people when they travel, they see exactly what happens. Titi, you're right. There's nothing more costly in the handling of the city more than waste management. Every day people produce waste.
Yeah.
Every minute in a second. As we leave from here, there will be something. And I went to our community the last time, and we even created under the PRU, under the Class project, we created what you call a competition among the communities. I think about 70 schools. We said the cleanest community will be able to win any project of your choice, and will come to you. Fortunately for all of the 150 community, we got about 3 community who just about trying to take ownership. Jefferson were fortunate, they won, and we asked them, what do you want? Jefferson said they wanted a hand pump. I just dedicated a hand pump on December 17th, yeah, and I also dedicated cheers for them. It was a way of just stimulating and lining people up. Take for example, I went to the community and I said, look, all of you people here, what are you now, a house owner? You are a renter. You do not expect the landlord to be responsible for where you lie or even your yard. It's this self-awareness. All of us need to be aware of our environment. If every citizen or every community is aware of trying to make their environment clean, safe, and clean, I can pretty say to you, Monrovia will be safe. And that it cannot just be the mayor. I think each and every one of you just need the mayor. You are all mayor in your own respective in a position. So today we're working in enhancing the awareness and ensuring that people need to pay for waste management in the city. And that we will begin with the drama. We try to work with what you call Julie Ann, the cultural ambassador. We try to work with people speaking at local vernaculars and with drama, so that we can move around and see how we can have a broader, awareness and perspective how people can begin to pay for waste in the country.
And I think we stick with the final on waste. The way we dispose of trash or waste in our country is totally different, and you just let the cat out of the bag. You made a very, very strong, or let's say disturbing revelation here, that we do not have no landfill. When you said that, it hit my gut. That means people even living in those areas are going through a lot. Are there city ordinances on the book to punish people if they litter?
Of course, they are. We have those laws, and through being told, some of those laws we on this year on review. There are some of the things I wanted to bring up to the public. Some of those laws are absolute. They are absolute laws where we can where we need for it to be re-examined. So we found some of the best lawyers. We hired some the lawyers so we can be able to.
Can you cite one of them?
We can. Yeah, basically, honestly, one section 7 that says to you that look, you should not litter the street. When you drop, like you drink a plastic, you put on the bed. It's every morning. Even take for example in a poor community, even your chamber, when you pick it up, you should when those days when city police come around, when they see a trash can, you should be arrested for that. So as another one, I didn't want to say publicly, it looked very comical, but again, that is the country we have. Our forefathers have their own reason for such a law also. But I can assure you, we're working seriously. We are people, most especially my leadership style is quite different. I like to have what you call a participatory engagement.
Okay.
Getting people involved and so that they can take ownership of whatsoever situation that is currently confronting them.
Okay, I think we've asked and moved on most of the issues about the city.
Before we move on,
you want to
there's
say
a little bit with the city. If you were to grade yourself the year under review, what would be the grade for the JVM?
In the city.
What can you grade me when you grade myself? You think I'll be biased to grade myself?
I know.
It's up to you if you're biased.
Is it something you would
it's
say
public.
50-50 or 60-40
Over my work I have done
in the city?
in the city? I think I'll feel much comfortable when you take your microphone to the people rather than to say,
Right.
I want to, yeah.
You
So
think
your
you've done your
prospects
best?
for 2023 as we go to, because 2023 is a very critical year. It's an election year and it's the last year your government has to run this country until we go to elections. What are your prospects?
But today you just started your own interview. After you're going to give me a chance, let me give you my whole overview about what I've been doing. But you just started with your questions.
When we do that, you
So you can put that in there, then you just tell us your prospects now, then we move to another.
Hey, come in. Can we say this? Why the president ambush?
I like this. I like the choice of words.
certainly.
But you're doing well. You're doing well there. Yeah, go ahead.
So,
Well, I want to say thank you again for this kind of a form of engagement. And I think we owe it to our people. Overall, when our working coming in the house, sick was saying, that each and every one of us, we are servant of our people. And that the only means we can do is that we owe them explanation about what we're doing and what we're facing. And I think is even though sometimes we're not comfortable with the way people like, Sharif, sit with them, approach.
we honor your interview. I hope
But I think it's also a favor for us.
Right.
Because when you do not fill in the gap with the rightful information, that gap could be filled with the mis and disinformation. And sometimes people say, look, Mayor, why are you always having press conferences? I say, of course, because I owe a responsibility to communicate what I do to the people. If I do not do that, meaning I give a space to a person who parades with mis and disinformation. So I think it's important, it's good to let the public know. And I said today on our year-end review, we have come to appreciate, we have come to challenge our constituents. We want them to come along with us. And the way to do it, I normally say to them, like, think about Rwanda. People often say the city of Rwanda is clean, but you don't hear the mayor name. The people speak about the community, the people speak about the city. And it is the mentality of the residents within the city. And a lot of people don't know what we face with, like I said to you. You check all around. How do you want to have a city? And nobody cares to say where you take the waste. Nobody knows where you take the waste. There will be a place where you take the waste to, and how you take it, and what is being done You have the medical waste, you have several different ways. What do? Everybody just think when the street is filled with all the just thing, that is the waste management, situation about that. That far beyond that. Even our transfer station, see about Painesville. We now trying to work to ensure that Painesville, even though we are constructing the newly constructed landfill, we are also trying to see that so Painesville can have a temporary transfer station. Because you have to have a transfer station first before you even move
to
the landfill. Because what you have to do is that you clean up and you take it to the transfer station. The transfer station, because the transfer station is the immediate point of contact. Yeah. Then from there you take it to the landfill. It is in the landfill where the various separation will take place and what you need to do. All of those things, our country and our city in particular is seriously lacking of. So we want to say that as we move, hopefully now in 2023, we hope before we end 2023, we're going to have a newly constructed landfill by our partners, and something we'll be very glad about. We are contemplating to launch it in the opening of the construction. Like I was talking to trying to reach out to my colleague, the Commerce Minister. For a year, I will be able to place a call to us so we can be able to fast track our engagement so that hopefully February we can start a very tangible place and we can be able to take the press there and you begin to see some of the progress being made so far. But at this point, I want to mention about the Global Parliaments of Mayor and about our engagement in the United States of America. Liberia was fortunate to be selected along with, apart from hosting the Global Parliament of Mayor, Oslo, and 3 other countries. Liberia was selected, the city of Monrovia was selected to sit on the panel and formulate, we talk about extremism, violence, good for us. We came from war, 14 years, democracy, and we also going for elections. So to see Liberia, particularly serve as a mayor, asking me to serve on our committee, I think it's something laudable, it's something huge for our city. So because we come to the table with a lot of experiences, we can be able to share our perspective to be able to help the global war. So we also want to mention about what we are anticipating for the Global Parliament of Mayor. We want to use this time to talk to our business community. We will be announcing in January the various committees that we want to help us work to ensure that September, that the conference will start ranging in September around the 16, 17, 18. Basically a full 5 days conference. But it's a conference going to have a lot, going to have a focus on the international community here. And fortunately for at that time, we will also be gearing us to our electionary process. So those are things we want to say to the public. We expect the city and our citizens to be very much cooperative, and we also want to talk to our friends back in Waterside. We have sent people to talk to them. We have permitted them to sell for the Christmas. And if you can remember when the COVID-19 started, we built tables for them, and we constructed a modern facility with 2 latrines for them, both male and female. We want to say to them that we effectively in January, there will be a regulation. We will be able to regulate their movement and selling. We're encouraging them, those who have an opportunity to have the tables, we think they should take advantage of that. We will not tolerate again. We're not going to tolerate where we see a lot of it, where you see the continued can to be using in a day. We're going to say effectively January when the house continue when they come into Waterside in the night. We do not want, we do not want they continue to be coming. There will be a demarcation where cars should park. We do not want the cars they parking. We're dealing with the what you call the transport union. We're also talking to the transport ministry. So we are asking that the way there should be some orderliness in Waterside, and we're talking to the business people. If you have your continuum, there will be a specific time you start doing your continuum. We want continuum to start. If you have a continuum or list, we provide security for you. But we think continuum should start hitting Waterside by 8 p.m. 8 p.m. The rest of the time you can decide you have that time. But to see, to have continual driving into.
So what are you going to do about security then? Because if I have my container coming around 8 p.m. To Waterside and I have to upload that container, security has to be there.
You have the criminals around, all these things.
Yeah, those are things we're working on. The Liberia National Police and the Monrovia City Government Police will work hands in hand. It will be a joint. So the office of 102, Marlon Sakor, he's been asked to liaise with the Monrovia City government so we can derive a comprehensive operational draft so that our citizens can be protected.
Let me just come in. I think you've said a lot about your international engagement with some of the things you've done. This issue about what just transpired in your city that has to do with some quote-unquote less privileged Liberians, where they said they were to receive money from the chief of protocol, but within time they did not see, and they took things into their hands. 2 persons got killed. What I feel to say, it seems to be lawlessness is taking over Monrovia.
No, I sharply disagree with your connotation about what is taking over Monrovia. And I think what transpired is unfortunate, and as even before I began my speech, I quickly recognized the demise of those citizens of our country. What I think is there was being misinformation and disinformation. People take advantage, and that's why I often say to people, either you tell your own story or somebody tell it for you. These people took advantage of those vulnerable kids and gave them a disinformation. At no point in time, when I contacted the chief of protocol of the president's office, she has no communication. She has spoken to no one. Sometime last year, it was a goodwill, and she started to do a goodwill gesture. I think it was a game. They were from the backdrop of that goodwill gesture. Somebody misconstrued that, and they thought that once you galvanize those kids in a place, there could be a likelihood for chaos, and those evil people succeeded in doing that. And I said to them, that is not appropriate, because some of those things that's been done is hinges on the reputation of the country. We need to stop what we're doing. There must be some demarcation, and there must be some point where you say, look, this type of politics, I'm a Liberian first before becoming a politician. What can I do to help this country? So just because somebody thought they want to embarrass this government, at the end result, we have to lose his life. Somebody celebrated that. You in a country where people celebrate and people make accidents. You in a country, I think it's troubling. I don't think it's appropriate. We don't want to use that one instance to characterize the city of being lawless. This city is not lawless, and I think we're trying our effort. We're doing everything positively to ensure that we're keeping what is cool and kind.
I listened to you. You did not say much about the less privileged people in your city, and some of what you were listening to them say that the president made a promise to them when he's elected. There could be a home where to have them to leave what they are involved with. And nothing seemed to happen, and you've said nothing about it. What the government has done or thinking about doing to have the young people, unfortunately, seeing themselves into the conditions they find themselves in?
I think the president just launched a program for them through the instrumentality of the Ministry of Youth and Sport. Even me as a person here, I work with them. The first time I created those trees you see, coconut trees on the street, were planted by them. I created what you call the CNW, the City Maintenance Workers. Those are people we started to work with, and we talk people who have some level of assistance to sustain the continuation of that. It didn't work out, but we're grateful. And working with them, we were able to transform 28 of them. 28 of them, some of them work with the Monrovia City Police, some of them work with our waste management place, some of them work with our advertisement. So 28 of them were able to be transformed, and we have, normally we not showcase the way other people will want grandstand. We ask them to be testimony of their own story. They go around and tell people, and people who see them, when they come across and encounter them, and they will be able to say, look, we had an encounter with the mayor, we had an encounter with the Monrovia City government. This is what has happened. Nobody can say that the president made promise to the Liberian for not one segment of people. Let us start personalizing and dividing this president. I think the president was elected for the Liberian people. His actions should not be quantified in a particular or a specific direction. He just on Christmas Day, this is a man who went on the street playing soccer with those kids. I don't see nobody in this world, and a president, who was, was able to get on the street. Because the first person in the country should be the president, his safety. If this man can go on the street and play soccer with vulnerable kids, so it tells you about the safety of the city, it tells you about his connectivity with the people. It's not just about, but it will take, this country have a lot to go through. It's not just about every other thing. If that's the case, then we'll just deal with everything as we imagine. But everything is, we're taking our time historically and gradually.
Yeah, with the at-risk youth, you think handouts for these guys, is there a plan to once and for all deal with them? I know this question should not be directed to you, but because they reside in your city and we see the numbers are ballooning exponentially, that's why I'm posing this question to you, but or else I should be asking the Minister of Youth and Sports. Is that something you're out of collaborating to once and for all, or just put a lid to this particular problem and solve it once and for all? Because innocent people are struggling out there, and then you find these guys come in and I don't want to use the Z word, and they're snatching purses. When season comes, you saw what happened in the city. People were running for their lives and all of that. People got hurt. Some people lost items and all of that. What is government actually doing, or what are you doing to make sure that this thing is, what are you suggesting to your colleagues that are involved to get this thing once and for all?
Yeah, I could firstly make a couple of suggestions here. And I think firstly, the government needs to work together in a concerted way to address this issue. And I think what we're doing, if care is not mindful, we easily drop the ball. I think we need to work with the government. I think both agency and ministry. So we can have a single approach to tackle it, because it's a growing concern. And I would say this is not politics, it's a reality. It's a serious real concern. I think what I think we're noticing is that we should let go the territorial mentality and say, look, because I've been responsible for this sector, then it is squarely my responsibility. But I think we need to let go of territorial mentality, and we begin to put everybody on the table to work together, and we define a concerted effort in finding a solution. And one of the ways to do it, and I think when you look at the laws about the guys who import. And when you look at it, and I think there should be another way there. People saying it's not bailable. If you ask me, I would think we need those of the people who want to cut in this crime. Why don't we attach fees to it? Take for example, when you can instead of keeping you in jail and nothing's been done, if you are a cop, we ask you, say, look, this quantity, you can be taxed 200,000, you can be taxed 50,000, you can be taxed 25,000 United dollars. Well, just so I may not be throwing out figures, you know, it may not be the way structured. I'm just telling, when that is done, it serves two purposes. One is this person will be, afraid you don't have the money to pay. Secondly, when you pay the money, that money will be used to create, rehabilitate, to have the guys rehabilitated. We carry them these places will be fun. So you don't necessarily have to be taking government money. Even the same sector can be able to produce some money. Rather than just to say, look, you want to get a man non-bearable and you if the man, we catch a man with drugs and the man come back in the community. So basically, the guys, those kids, they are the end users. So first of all, we need to deal with the source, then focusing on the end users.
Right.
We need to focus on the source and how can we deal with the source. And the first way is the laws. And how can we, fine-tune the law in the way that those who are constantly engaged in abusing the system can be fair, and when they abandon. Once the people who bring in the drugs cannot no longer bring the drugs, the guys in the street will not find, because for them to be effective, they have to find the drugs.
Right.
When the drugs is not available, you're not going to see them anymore. Then before we start thinking about how to deal with those people, for me, I think that's the approach.
Okay, Mayor, let's move on to politics.
Before you move on, I just want to let me put the icing on the cake on this one. What will Monrovia look like 3 days to the conference of mayors in your city?
Well, we are working assiduously to ensure that Monrovia will be clean, green, and safe. In our weak way, we try to engage with branding. We try to because the city is kind of congested. So we even trying to see we're trying to work with Colopacha soon in terms of to decongest traffic and the way we want to do those things. We don't want our people to come here and they carry a different optic. So we'll keep in touch with you, Kwame, we'll like people like you to be, we'll keep in touch with you very closely and to see how we can get more over. Because they are also asking, some of them and that's why we need to be mindful. Some of them, you'll be interested. They also told me about the 2 kids that got killed. I got a call from New York. The guys in the mayor's office. He was also very concerned. And I got a call from also Japan. So people follow, since the conference is coming, people are researching Monrovia.
Wow.
People are trying to see things happen. So I think it comes with a huge responsibility. And that's why we come to say, well, we go into politics. People will they will take politics over people, and they will take politics over country, and they will not care. They will go out in the land to defend the image of this country. And we are here also to be able to give a different picture, to give the actual picture about what the realities are.
Okay, like I said, we move into politics. For those of the people listening, we have a joint interview with the mayor of the city of Monrovia. Mayor, on behalf of my colleagues, I want to say congratulations on your election as Secretary General of the Congress for Democratic Change. Right? No, it's not a coalition though. It's the Congress for Democratic Change. The coalition is something around 3 political parties. There's no longer a coalition. Okay, Secretary General. Now we're referring to you now as the Secretary General.
Let me correct that. The coalition is still.
It has expired.
Yeah.
It expired. It has expired.
Yeah.
The coalition expired.
Yeah,
Do you want to make that clear, Mayor, so that people listening to you?
Second, obviously we have an arrangement. The aspiration date in no way indicate that we're not in our conversation. We have met. The three political parties are working together cohesively. As we speak to you, before we even reach here, there was communication that the three leaders, have fixed their communication, their signatures before the departure of the president to his tour around the world. So for you to say there's no coalition is indicate that we have separated and we're going separately. What I want to project to you, no, you're right. Aspiration date is there, but we have modified it as I speak to you. Every other thing stay on course, and we still work together as a coalition. I was elected as Secretary General of the Congress of Democratic Change. Each of the three political parties go and have their separate congresses, but it doesn't mean we negate the fact that we do not work together. So tonight, we are represented as the coalition for democratic change.
Secretary General, we'll reach to that issue, but we need to still get some clarity about that because what documents in our possession shows that there's no coalition. But let me say, like I said, congratulations. First of all, in the political area, of recent, we listened to the announcement from you and that of the chairman of CDC, in which you people postponed the organized, program to re-elect or maybe ask the president to contest come 2023 on the ticket. This is what political pundits they've been saying, that CDC is losing grip in terms of the support of the Liberian people. So looking at all of the indicators, they won't have the number of persons they want to have in terms of asking the president to recontest. So that's one of the reasons why they pushed the time to next year, so to give them ample time to do engagements begging the Liberian people. Why you people decided to postpone the announced date of you people asking the president to recontest?
Well, thank you, Sigel. The nomination, as a matter of fact, will be nominating the president, and the president on board will nominate his vice nominee. And I want again to re-emphasize with clarity that the Coalition for Democratic Change is in good spirit. The Coalition for Democratic Change have held together and continue to hold together. There could be some challenges, which of course not unique to only us, but we can assure the Liberian people. The Liberian people gave power to the Coalition for Democratic Change. We are respectful of the Liberian people's decision, and we have kept it under the stewardship of His Excellency Dr. George Monrovia. He has provided leadership for that coalition. In fact, as I speak to you, we are trying to even expand the coalition to have a grand coalition. We think to lead the Liberian people, it must be a conglomeration of us, segment of our people, so that we can be able to consolidate leadership of power in this place here.
Grand coalition, what does that mean?
Grand coalition meaning we're going to have more than 3 political parties.
That's your anticipation.
Yeah, that's where we are working towards that. You know, when you generally joking, we're allowed to let the cat out of the bag. I hope I'm not running into trouble.
No.
But you one of the big problems.
Trouble. But we want to say that because it's Sekou trying to, but that is the point, and there is concern that while we have to postpone the nomination program, and they think that we are unpopular or getting unpopular. Well, that is not for me to say. That will be left with the Liberian people to judge. we are not competing popularity here. For us, we've done that. Popularity for us is something that we did way back, and nobody can undo the popularity that this populous people movement has initiated in this country. Only the CDC can undo itself. We stand with our numbers, set the foundation of this country. So for us, we are more intrigued with impact. And are we impacting or are we not? Those are things we are listening to. But because we got the biggest stake to provide leadership for our people in this country, if anyone is attempting to say, like I'm the mayor of this place, and a kid outside there trying to threaten, I'm not going to gamble the leadership of the Monrovia city government to a kid that is outside there who, when I get around, they will ask the question, say, but you have so much at stake. Why didn't you, think bigger than what you imagine? So we are not moved by our emotion. I sent you a say, go to election commission. We wrote the election commission informing them that our activities were commencing from the 17th to the 20th. We looked, a political arrangement came and said they were going to stage a protest on the 17th. So for us, it was an auto provocation. We thought it was geared towards to provoke this peaceful nature of the Congress and the Coalition for Democratic Change. So immediately under the stewardship of His Excellency Dr. George Monrovia, he said, I'm a peaceful guy, I'm a paragon of peace. I have never compromised those principles. So even though some of us at the National Executive Committee did not believe in what he was saying, but he used his lobbyistic skills and he persuaded us in the National Executive Committee meeting, which of course he's participated in, and his vision was, look, there is no need for us to come in conflict with potential troublemakers, people who are opting for trouble. So it's not going to cost you anything. Why don't you extend your program to a date that we come in conflict with no one? In fact, that gave our people an opportunity to celebrate their festive season to come. Because he brought forth a more logical argument, at the end result, he was able to win. So what is important, Sekou, that I expect you to be asking, which of course you didn't ask, you should be commending the fact that we saved this country from running into chaos. And I want to use this time to tell thank you. I want to say thank you to Zazan Kawa. Zazan Kawa was able to write a letter commending the chairperson. Say, look, we were very concerned when people said they were bringing hundreds of thousands of citizens outside, and not that one. They were going to bring citizens that are going to be angry. They were not bringing churchgoers outside. They were not bringing, they say they are going to bring the citizens that they are going to successfully hypnotize them into anger and bring them. You could not predict the outcome of that thing. Right. So you could not predict. So since we're bringing those kind of people, hundreds of thousands of those people, His Excellency Dr. George Monrovia said, look, let us avoid these people and let give them all to themselves. And I want to seize this time to say thank you to Colonel Sulu, who continue to display, high level of professionalism, who think that, look, in this place, protesting under Ambassador Weah is becoming, a culture of this government where food and everything will be given. And we want to start to, what you call our astute finance minister now, you need to put a certain budget within with the what you call the Monrovia or what you call the Liberia National Police, where they can be. We need something that build under the budget because we're going to elections. You need to put at least about 2
And
TRS
there has to be more
officers.
fools to protesters.
There will be more protests, and so
Yes,
as
so-
a result, there will be more food.
Yes, so Patrick will be giving them food. That's what Patrick should do. So
Okay, let me
people
just
want
make
them
this
to get
please
them
before
food.
you come in. Secretary General, and the reason why I'll continue to call you the Secretary General because we're discussing politics. We're no longer on the MCC issue. Secretary General Koijee, they just ended convention, has been marked by controversy, and surprisingly,
Kwame, I don't know
when
you
these no,
they
listen,
question.
Secretary General Koijee, listen to us, please. When these kinds of activities about to take place, you have announcements, you have jingles informing those of the people that are wanting to participate. But unlike what just happened, we did not see such. On the same day the convention was to be taking place, it is the same day we saw just a newspaper, and some of your partisans are complaining that this process was not done properly. Why you leaders decided to do such?
Kwame, tonight I'm asking you to take away the lead of this press conference. This press conference is intended to speak.
Oh, you now want to tell who to ask, who not to ask?
I can't tell people about some of the progresses and the challenges that I have encountered and I have made. I signed a sister city relationship with Sir Barry. I signed a sister city relationship with Wayne Taxi, Houston Taxi. Those are things we signed to and things happen. This man is bringing, conventional. You and Titi should take charge of this.
I'm not sure you want to tell us what to do.
Just answer
But-
that last
but-
one and
but-
then
but
we're
Secretary
gonna
General,
go. Yeah,
take your
yeah,
time.
yeah. He's gonna
Okay,
say-
so
he's
you
gonna
want
get
to
that one.
answer our question about the controversy surrounding the just ended convention. Unusual things happened. Why?
So thank you, and I don't want you to rob the people of Monrovia. Are in the office. This office, I'm the mayor of the city of Monrovia. I should be talking squarely about some of the things that are affecting the people communities and
You're
what
right. You're right on that front.
So let me say to you, the issue. I will answer you. The
But speak to the
This-
that time. Yeah, ELBC said wants to say.
we conducted a process. You know the issue about Segu and the likes of him. They want to be the newsmaker, and they're not the newsmaker. Segu, you should be telling me, making reference to a particular stakeholder of our party who got issue with our process. Our process were conducted, and you should be able to be commending us. There are media practitioners, Debo, a lot of cross-section of people. The law says you should issue your process to go to convention. Was it published? Yes. But you are bigger to go run behind like grand people and say we follow all of the requisite procedures in ensuring that a responsible political party conduct its business. Those processes were being squarely followed. If there is any issue that is counterproductive, we encourage the person of interest to go to NEC. We encourage you to go to the Supreme Court. But anything far short of that is a person who trying to have tariff on a non-issue. So the process were conducted free, fair. We have proven again to the Liberian people that we have an unquestionable relationship with our political institution. I'm not seeing all the roses in our party. We have our own ups and downs. But to say to conduct the affairs of our activities, we challenge people who are criticizing us. They should be telling us, there's an open challenge. Let the people, these political arrangements, let it go. They will not even select a Kennedy to represent them. What they did, they talked about when we do what they do, then they get issue with that. Our process, Kwame and Titi, was democratically conducted. The media was there, and it suited all democratic precepts that is required to conduct that process.
Yeah,
So I listen to you calling my colleagues' names. You don't want to call my name, but
Yeah,
let me
yeah.
just. I want to end this. I know.
Yeah, hold on. Let me hold on. Let me do this. Thank you. We don't want to make this a dialogue. Let's stick with the December 17th to the 20th. And I know I heard that as well for the confrontational aspect of it. You managed to postpone that because the CPP accused your party, of corruption, and they accused your party of corruption, and they tried to launch this protest on the same day that you were, about to go do your nomination, and to avoid confrontation, you backed off because you're ruling party. Now, I need your honest opinion on this. Here is a group or leading political figure that is accusing you of corruption. During the 17th morning when they were launching their rally, We're Tired of Suffering rally, there was this missing $70,000. Though we cannot independently verify the number, but some money got missing. And up to now, there are some folks who were saying that this money, the leader, who is in the person of Alexander Cummings, should have punished, the likes of Louis Brown and all of those who were the cause of this money getting missing. Is it a case where the kettle is saying the pot is blocked? I need your comment on that. What do you make of that?
Well, thank you. Thank you so kindly. One good thing is I respect the Liberian people's sense of judgment. Let the Liberian people judge those of the people who are asking to be employed by them. So if the man who want a job and the way he's trying to conduct himself, and you take chicken soup, then he have party for you, and he's scared of the people, the Liberian people are watching and seeing. All we want to say, we're grateful for the opportunity they gave us. They gave us 6 years, and Ambassador Weir is leading, and we will be very glad that we'll get back to them. And they will judge us on the basis of what we have done with the leadership they have given us.
Okay, let me